Hey Taurus, hopefully you can see me. I thought I would start a couple minutes early. Apollo was awake here and wanted to say hello as well. And I could see some of you active in the chat here. So hopefully everybody is doing well. Welcome, Taurus, to your January 2020 readings. As you know, I'm going to be doing everything live this month. And if you haven't already had a chance to take a look at my website, please do that. I've listed a schedule of all of the upcoming readings right there. And hopefully that will help sort of disambiguate and let you know when you can show up and participate. I'm going to put Apollo down, but you all like to see him occasionally, so I thought I'd bring him in here for just a second to say hello, wish you a good morning, and get us all off to a good start today. So first of all, I'd love to see a couple comments here just to let me know that you can see the chat and that you're receiving it. I see a few thumbs up, so it looks like it is working here. While that's going on, I just want to talk a little bit about what's going on today, why I've chosen to do live readings, and what you can expect. Okay, good. I can see you can see it perfectly. You're welcome. Thank you. All right, so I'm going to be doing all of the readings live this month. I thought it would be a really nice way to connect with you and to also give some of the energy of what it's like to have a one-on-one with me. And because I channel information, this is also a very authentic way for me to deliver it. I was really working hard on all of the monthly videos, as many of you know, and I think I was overdoing it. So I wanted to kind of just show up and have this be more like radio or TV, where I could actually connect with you and we could have the live energy. And I know that whenever I'm watching someone that I like to kind of see how they are live. So that's why I'm here. So anyway, welcome everybody. And again, I posted a schedule. Actually, there were some questions earlier. You can scroll up in the live feed and you might see it. But if you just go to my website, nicholasashbaugh.com, the link is in my YouTube About page. You can see all of the upcoming schedules there. Also, if you opt into the notifications here, you'll get a little pop-up on your phone and you can join me. So to all of my returning viewers, welcome. This is the second time I've done this. It's getting a little easier each time. So bear with me as we kind of learn to perfect this. Thanks, by the way, for the super chat. I appreciate that. For anybody that is brand new, let me just give you an overview of what to expect today. I always like to separate my reading into a few different parts. As you know, I start with channeled information. I actually meditate before this reading so that I can get started on that, and then I'll continue it when we do that. But this is when I just meditate over the cards, and whatever comes through clairvoyantly, I will share that with you. So that's part one. Part two is when I just pull a full Celtic cross and we look at high points, anything that's a challenge, all of this sort of in-between stuff, as you know. And then I expand it to look at health, wealth, love, and destiny. Today, I'm going to do a couple of bonus things because we're going to be looking at January. I'm going to pull 4 cards so we can look at the 4 different parts of next year, basically splitting it into 3-month segments. And then that's a nice way to give you an overview without having to sort of go into another 12 cards, which would keep us here for a long time. So that should be a nice way to, again, kind of tap into the energy. If you would like to stick around until the end, I'll additionally kind of be doing a meditation, and I'd love to chat at the end. So if you want to give back this time, there's a different way you can do it with super chat. So maybe save the super chats until then, or if you want to if you feel inspired during it, that's fine, but I can see it at the end, or I can see it right now. But when I'm going to do the reading, I will stay focused. So I love that you guys are commenting. Unless there's something urgent, I'm not going to reply to them too much because I just want to be in the flow of the energy. As always, again, at the end, I'll talk about how you can get involved, which is, of course, joining me on social media, booking an appointment, becoming a patron, or here today, you can super chat. So that's all of the high points. Let's go ahead and talk about the channeled message for this month. And again, I'm just so excited you guys showed up today. So again, welcome in. So channeled message this month. I selected a deck of cards, which I'm going to highlight this one. I normally don't identify that, but this was a gift from one of my viewers. And it's kind of a handcrafted one. I don't get any kickback on this. It's just a really cool deck. It's actually available on Etsy. I think it's called it's Lian Gateway Tarot. And they're really unique cards, really beautiful illustrations. So thanks to the viewer that sent me this and to the artist that created it. Beautiful. When I was meditating over these cards today, I was immediately struck by this kind of feeling of not being sure if I could move forward. And it was almost as if like back in school, I actually used to play track and field. And I remember kind of sitting at the starting line, and you would be waiting, and you're kind of waiting for like that gun to fire or for the bell to ring or something like that. And for you, the message that I got was, don't wait. Like, it's time right now. I think some of you might be hoping for an external sign, but the sign is that if you feel like you need to start something in your life, whether it's, you know, healthier way of living, a new project, or you want to change your job or go back to school, start doing it right now. And I follow someone on Instagram, and something that they posted the other day really resonated, which was that, you know, December does not have to be sort of a sleepy month. I think that, you know, with the holidays, obviously I'm working a lot, as you can see, you can get a lot of work done. You can basically create a lot of momentum. And January is either going to be, for some people, a month where they're trying to catch up, or for those of you that decide right here and right now to make the most of it, you actually might hit the ground way ahead of them. You're not going to have to sort of have this catch up or hangover event where you're trying to think, how do I get it all started? So my advice to many of you this month is to take that leap of faith and know that it's time to get started right here, right now. You don't have to wait for someone else to say, oh yeah, you should do that. Because a lot of times the, oh yeah, you should do that comes too late, and it's sort of like an afterthought. So whatever it is you're trying to create or start in your life, let's do it. This is a great time to get started. And I talked in the December forecast to everybody about this, but I feel like December is a very powerful gateway month. And so is January, but both of them kind of are like the two-headed god Janus, where you can look ahead and also look back. And you can make some decisions and think like, do I like where I've been? And what do I want to do with the time that remains? Which I think comes from The Hobbit or whatever, or Lord of the Rings. But it's true. All that matters is what we're doing today and what we decide to do with the next few days ahead of us. Like, that's what's forging our future. And that's why we show up for these readings every month. I can kind of lay out the energy for each and every session when we talk, but it's up to you to decide, do I want to do this? Is this working for me? Oh, that's an opportunity. I should take advantage of that. It's all about your free will. So with that being said, let's go ahead now. I'm going to shuffle the cards. As you know, I like to pull the camera down and remain quiet. It gives me a chance to take in all the placements, the cards, and I also receive messages at that point. So stick around. Let me get all of the cards laid out, and we'll talk about what's in store for you for January 2020. Okay, let's see what's coming through here. Okay, so we'll start off with the Catalyst card. And for those of you that watch me from month to month, you know that the Catalyst card functions as a connective thread for everything that we see. It's also a way to attach to the highest energy. And what I mean by highest energy is how to see things in the best light, to take advantage of even sort of situations that might feel like they're somehow working against you or not kind of helping you along your journey. So we have a bear card, which for me is about strength, but can also be sort of misleading. In communication, one thing that you want to be careful of with the bear is that sometimes you can be misunderstood because people can take a comment or a form of communication as being either more abrupt or that maybe that they can't connect with you as much. Because when I think of a bear, sometimes, yeah, they can be cuddly, but they're a little dangerous too. So I would say find a way when you're trying to engage with others to let some of the guards down, to find a way to really appeal to them in a way that makes them feel safe, warm, and like a part of the communication. And the other thing with the bear card is I feel like you're very much in control. So it's almost as if you don't have to overcompensate or show anything, because if you believe in your power, if you believe in your strength, it will come through in the way that you communicate. And I think that's key. The other thing with, if we think of sort of, I'm not a financial person, but I know there's like bear markets and bull markets, right? And I think the bear market is slightly more, it's slower. It's like hibernating. The bull takes off. So with the bear, it feels like as we're looking at January, things financially speaking, and also just in your life, that's why I think you want to get ahead of things so that you've already created some momentum and you're not kind of sleepy and trying to wake up like a hibernating bear. So I think that this is why the message when I was talking about your channel sort of message was just to really get ahead, take that leap of faith now, and make sure that you don't fall into that sort of sluggishness that many people will be dealing with during the month of January. As we go to the center of the spread, I really liked what I saw here. I was like, yep, there's that opportunity. We have the Page of Pentacles. So listen, you guys are listening right now. So this means that for some of you, you might have a little echo of what's coming through with this Page of Pentacles. This can be a new job. It can be a brand new idea of something that you want to create. It could also just be a decision that you want to do something for yourself. So all of those things that I hit upon, we see this here. Pages are about delivery and receipt though. So some of you might either in your dreams or just in day-to-day life be receiving some sort of an offer, a message, or a sign. So it's probably going to happen in advance of January. That's one of the reasons it's kind of nice that I can give you these readings a little early, because you can get a heads up and kind of like get out of that. So be on the lookout for that. And also don't be afraid to chase it down a little bit, because what I'm seeing there is reciprocity. So if you take advantage of something now and kind of put your hat in the ring for something, a job or promotion, even interest in somebody that you love, because we have the Queen of Cups right on top of this, it shows that you can make great development there. With the Queen of Cups, this is also saying that passion is the driving force for the month of January for you, particularly when it comes to career, finance, and just basically any sort of development things in your life. So what are you really drawn to do? A lot of times when I coach a client one-on-one, I'll ask them this, because I'm sure you guys have had this happen in your life where you might quit a job or lose a job, and instead of sort of taking a moment to absorb everything, take stock, and figure out, am I happy with the path that I'm on? We just kind of jump into the next most similar job. Sometimes, and there'll be another company that's almost identical. You just try to get the same job. Think of like what this whole life cycle is about, reincarnation. We come back each lifetime to learn, to absorb information and energy, and then decide, like this beeping in the background, to wake up, like what's going on. We have to sort of acknowledge that there's a purpose for being right here and right now. And so if something's going on and you don't like it, take stock a little bit and think, all right, I'm ready now to really take a right turn, or to try something brand new. So follow your heart, follow your gut, and do something you love, even if other people think that that's crazy. It's passion that really drives success, I've found in my life anyway. When you do something just for the sake of money, or to assuage people's concerns, or to try to make them happy, it's not going to really be there. So anyway, by the way, there's a lot of energy around love and relationships. We'll talk about it in a second. I need to hit on a couple of additional cards, but I do have some messages with love, so stick around on that. We see Page of Cups in reverse in the deep past. This is hitting on what we just talked about. I feel a lot of you have been putting yourself sort of on the side, maybe for your best friend, for your partner, for a child of yours. This is your chance to be happy, to do what you want to do, to really acknowledge that it's important for you to have that sense of fulfillment as well. Now, as I was saying, there is some change going on for some of you in relationships, because we have the Four of Wands here in recent past. So this could be happening now. It could be happening right at the beginning of January. This is foundational. And I talked about this in my December forecast. Four of Wands indicates really strong beginnings. So if you're deciding to partner up with somebody, whether it's love, business, or something else, maybe even a roommate, I'm getting good feelings about this actually, because the crowning card is the World. So this feels like a change that's beneficial to you. It's going to create some really strong opportunities and foundations for the year ahead. And for some of you, this could mean engagement, or again, maybe deciding to live with someone and see if they're the one, or a trial for some sort of a partnership. Like, let's try working together. Let's see if this works. Maybe a contract situation. So I see a lot of good energy around new people and new partnerships and all of that right at the beginning of the month. That's why I'm saying you've got to kind of get a head start. Don't get lost in the holidays. And it's almost like holidays with D-A-Z-E, dazed out. You have to really stay focused because there's some important stuff coming through for you. So love, relationships, anything that you really want to put your energy into, it's going to kind of take root in a nice way. With the World card, this could be a change of address, a change of job, a change of relationship status. For the better, the card is upright. So I would say embrace this. It looks like there's some really exciting changes afoot for you in the month of January. And in fact, if you felt like things were sluggish prior to now, I don't think that it's going to stay that way. Even if the month kicks off to a sort of slow start, I feel like the changes have to come through. There'll be a lot going on. There are some things that you have to resolve. And I want to look at the resolution of these before we talk about potential new relationships, because I always think it's important for you to be sorted out no matter what we're looking at when it comes to relationships. So when we look at near future, and this will be like the midpoint of the month and also just some of the energy that's pulling you towards February, we have the Five of Swords. And the Five of Swords for me has to do with really being careful about who you're kind of associating with. I love the illustration here with these sort of shadowy people in the background. And this person knows, like, this isn't worth it. We see this card reverse. It's walking away from an old situation, recognizing a pattern, and thinking, like, I don't need to kind of associate with people who bring me down, who can't see the positive, or who have a way to sometimes just get in under your skin. With the Five of Swords, it's one of the cards where it's almost not worth kind of trying to argue with somebody. They have a way where they're shutting down and they don't want to listen. So if there's someone in your circle that just can't receive feedback or suggestions, or has a way sometimes of twisting communication, you need to find a way to have better limits, hopefully in the month of January. Walk away from this and just realize that you're going to be better off without that. Both the Five and the Seven of Swords have an element of cutting your losses and trying to avoid putting yourself in that energy. And that's what I see here. Also, just as a general note for you, everything that I said also applies to your sign, which is just stay on the high road when it comes to arguments or any sort of confrontations. If someone's trying to kind of push your buttons, take a deep breath and think, consider the source and is it worth it? And if I say something, is that going to be kind of like a part of the permanent record around me? Do I really want to be known for that, that argument that's going on? And that's rhetorical. The answer is probably not. But I do feel like for some of you, you need to step away from a situation. I actually love that this Three of Swords shows that when it's reversed, when you let go of the pain, we actually see the sun coming out. This is one of the few where it's kind of like the reversal shows the brightness of the card. So Three of Swords involves having a difficult kind of conversation sometimes with someone. It can be a breakup. It can be bringing up something that hasn't been working or doesn't feel right and just saying, we need to fix this. It's never fun to do that, but this can be a very constructive card. It can also be something where you're just heartbroken because you wished something could have come through, but it didn't. But this is about the silver lining that we see on the top here. So the loss, the disappointment, the argument, it's going to give way, provide space for something bigger, better, and ultimately brighter to come into your life. So this wasn't enough. Sometimes it's not enough to just do something because it's always worked in the past or because you feel obligated to that person. I want to say one other thing here. If you hold up your end of a bargain with the Four of Wands, this can be sort of a spoken contract or a handshake because there's no swords involved. And the other person falls short. You can talk to them and have them be accountable, but you can also walk away if it's not going to work. So there might be something that starts off, and I think this has to do with business, where they present very brightly, but they just can't follow through. So the good news is this isn't going to take a long time to see that. If I feel like this is someone who sort of says, yeah, let's meet up, I'll talk to you or I'll call you, but they just never kind of follow through on that, know that although disappointing, it's much better to learn it here and now than to invest unnecessary time and energy in that. You're going to be busy in January. When we look at your environment, I have the Five of Wands. And this Five of Wands is, it's actually showing you that one of the challenges is to try to figure out how to keep everybody organized and how to really not kind of get scattered in your energy. So if you're a part of a big group, there may be sort of this game of telephone is what I'm seeing with this, where messages get lost or the sort of vision gets watered down. So I think it's important to come back together, to not work separately, because the power this month is really in cooperation, not in sort of going off in little silos and then going down one path. I think this is how you can avoid the arguments, because there could be misunderstandings. And if you continue to work in each other's energy with each other, then you won't kind of lose those threads of communication or lose the vision for something that needs to happen. I mean, this is holding true for like relationships too. So if you're trying to improve or get past a difficult time, the more time you can spend together, the better, because when you kind of go off your separate ways, it feels like that's when things build up, or when you kind of get lost in the thicket a little bit. There's a need for your sign this month to really focus on some internal development. Whenever I see the Suit of Pentacles in reverse, it's about self-based work. Sometimes it can be selfish, but not when it's in hopes, fears, and opportunities. This is about deciding to do something for yourself, to go back to school, to reevaluate certain things in your life and think, is this right? Does this work? Do I like it? And then figure out what can I do, as we kind of talked about earlier, to bring more balance, to bring a sense of reciprocity, happiness, work-life balance into your life. I feel like once you get that, you're going to be happier. And it's actually that work-life balance is important for ultimately for your relationships. So let's talk about relationships for a second. We're going to do that in the expanded forecast, but we got a ton of relationship cards this month. So I know you all like to hear about love. So let's talk about it a little bit. I like that we have 10 of Cups in the outcome. For everything, this simply means that you can end the month better than you started, with friends, with coworkers, and especially with people that you love. This is a card of family and connecting with family. And I know a lot of you will be doing that around the new year. So of course it makes sense that this card would be here, but it's also at the outcome. So that's showing me January and beyond. So let's go back and look at some of what could be leading into the 10 of Cups, and then we'll talk about that one more time. As you know, the way I read anyway is when I see two of the same suit, a lot of times this shows me either partners or siblings, because it's very similar energy. So I have kind of youthful energy here this month. We have a Page of Pentacles and we have a Knight of Pentacles. And with the Page of Pentacles, I get a lot of sensitivity, a lot of sort of, there might be water in this sign as well. So maybe Cancer or something like that in the sun or ascendant. And what I'm seeing is one partner is very, very passionate and really is looking for stability and wants that sort of monogamy in the relationship. And I get the other person feels like they're very work oriented. And to me, this is what the kind of conflict is when you might meet somebody this month. There's two different sort of focal points, I guess. One person relationship, one person sort of status, work, school, etc. So make sure that anybody that you're meeting this month, you have similar sort of goals and ambitions. And the question is, can you wait for that person? Is the timing right? Because it does feel like ultimately they might be worth kind of working this out. But as I said, it feels like you need to spend more time together. And I do believe that's a good litmus test. If that person can't make time for you, then that says enough, you know, because you have to look at how they're allocating their time and resources. We also have the Queen of Cups right in the middle, which could show a strong water sign coming into your life. And all of the cards around her are pretty good, actually. We have Page of Cups in the deep past, so another partnership opportunity. And with both of these, you know, there's a slight maturity or a slight, I would say even age difference, specifically with the Queen and with the Page. So you might find yourself in a place where you're attracted to someone that is kind of outside of your normal expectations in either, again, how old they are or how mature they are. And so this is going to be called into question. The thing is, most of the energy this month is really, really positive. We're going to look at your two highest cards. This is the crowning energy, the World, and this is the outcome, the 10 of Cups. So everything that's kind of elevating your sign and pulling it towards its outcome is pretty good. The only thing you have to focus on is trust and making sure that when it comes to, I think a good sort of couple or partnership, you should be able to resolve conflicts easily. And I wouldn't even call it argue. But you should be able to argue if you love someone. It's just sort of saying, I don't agree with you on this. Let's talk about it. And if you can get through those situations, you can get through anything. And I think for many of you, that's also a litmus test this month. Can you fight well? Can you get through that? Can you make up? Can you understand one another? But I see love coming in, and there's a lot of different people. So I would say be discerning this month. So if you're looking for love, I see love. If you're in a relationship, you need to focus probably on communication and working together. And if you're single and happy, then there's a ton of opportunities for career, especially with that Page of Pentacles and the Knight of Pentacles. So there's one opportunity for doing something. There's another one for learning something or investing. Ultimately, I see balance and tranquility kind of being the net result of all of this. So I'm feeling good about January for your sign. I hope you are too. Let's go ahead now and expand the forecast. We're going to look at health, wealth, love, and destiny. All right, let's start with the health card. It actually goes into that disagreement or that breakup that needs to happen. And you'll see someone here that looks like they have their heart broken or that they're hurt. And then, of course, when I look at the card that would be most closely associated with this, it would be the Three of Swords. So speaking strictly on a sort of sense of feelings, because for me, the health card is how you feel, what's actually physically going on in your body, and then energetically, what's happening in your chakra system. So for emotions and feelings, you have to work through the hurt. And it's so easy to sometimes like not want to feel it, right? Because it's not fun. It sucks. There's no better word for it, right? When you're breaking up or when you have an argument or when you're angry, you just feel that sense of, oh, why now? Like there's so many other things that I want to work on. So if you can just put a little bit of energy into loving yourself, realizing that this was a blessing in disguise, and then try to see why it happened and what you can do instead of this, that's going to be better. But this is a card of rest. So take some time off. If, like me, you're working through the holidays and you haven't taken some time off, then make sure that you take a little bit of time, a long weekend, doing something for yourself. And in that rest, you're going to get the balance and the sort of perspective that you need to process through this. Because I think one thing that gets lost sometimes with a lot of people that are talking about metaphysics or reading is that you have to process and you have to integrate pain and difficulties in your life, because if you don't, then they repeat, right? Again, we're talking about karma and cycles and all of this. So honor the pain, honor the situation. Don't sit in it too long, but do allow it to kind of integrate with your mind, body, and spirit, and then think, all right, enough. I'm going to focus on these beautiful opportunities, and I deserve to be happy. And you do, all right? So you'll be able to work through it. With respect to a general health message, whenever I see the Three of Swords, it is saying to take better care of your heart. It doesn't mean that you're going to have an issue with it. It could just mean that you need more exercise in your life. It's about cardiovascular health. So making sure that you're doing more cardio activities, walking, hiking, swimming, whatever works for you, whatever your doctor approves, obviously, because that's something that you have to do based on your own health needs. But heart health is important, and eating in a way that affects heart health in a positive way as well. I'm not a dietitian, so talk to your doctor about that, but you understand what I'm saying. Just treating yourself better across the board. And with respect to that, I do see like this, sometimes when the pentacles are reversed like this, it can show that you're eating too much of the wrong thing, or there's a little bit of a deficiency. So that's the main thing that I'm seeing. There's a lot of emotional cards, and I think that's the main focus for you, is trying to find happiness and balance though. Let's go ahead now and move along to your wealth area. And wealth isn't just money. It's also how you feel. And I would say, like, I say this a lot, it's worth repeating. Self-worth directly equates to your net worth. And I also think that what you can see and believe in yourself, or what you see in the future as a possibility, also helps attract that energy. So what we see here is that there's a need for balance to happen for many of you. So this can be work-life balance. It can also be balancing your checkbook. So listen, December's a tough time. We sometimes overspend, whether it's because we feel generous and we want to give to others, or because we think, you know what, I deserve a break, and you're going to sort of treat yourself, whatever it is. I see that you're going to be able to accomplish the balance because you have primarily positive or very good cards here. Right at the center, we have the Page of Pentacles. So I see money, I see abundance coming through. I see, though, when we look at hopes, fears, and possibilities, you have to also look at how to balance that out and make sure that you're not overdoing it in any one particular area. So balance, moderation, you've got this, I believe, when it comes to that. When you're looking at new job opportunities in your life, this is also saying weigh out all of the options. Make sure that it feels really good. Don't take the first thing. And if you're also working for someone who doesn't respect you or isn't sort of basically seeing you for who they are, then this is about making sure that those scales get balanced. Don't overwork yourself for someone who's not respecting you in that area. So anyway, the other thing that I see for this too, and I think someone just popped it, like generosity. This is a way for you to, if you're feeling like you're out of sync in your life, one thing that helps, you can do it now in December. It's a great time. It's service, right? So if you feel like there's a lack in your life, this helps with love and it helps with money. And it can be a small token. You can use a penny, but like just give something to someone out of generosity and say, I love you, thank you. It can be that. It can just be thank you. It has to be heartfelt. It has to be without strings. It has to really be unconditional. And when you do that, it brings more to you. So if you're feeling out of balance a little bit, or if you're too sort of in your own world, whether it's work, school, or relationship, try working and doing something for someone just for the sake of doing it and getting yourself out of your head. That's going to bring in new opportunities as well. All right, that was wealth. We're going to look at love now. This makes a lot of sense based on what I saw at the crowning card, the world, big changes, and the ego card, which is all about kind of figuring out what you want. And then also leap of faith here. So some of you are going to leap towards an opportunity that you love or a person that you want to be with. Some of you are going to jump away from something that no longer suits you. And you also might be in the sort of midst of that kind of runner situation where there's a lot of energy, you're very attracted, and you just need to give that person some freedom so that they can figure out who they are and what they want. Because ultimately, and I love that we see this in Destiny, it's all about love. And you can attract whatever you're looking for. And I honestly feel like the best possible situations, whether they're work, love, or money, they're going to be there because they're the right things and they'll be attracted to you. If they push themselves out of the orbit, they were never really supposed to be there to start with, or they're not kind of resonating with your energy right now. So just know that you have the power to pull new things into your life. And as hard as it may be, and as much as you may think that one person, one thing, one situation was the only way to go, it doesn't have to be. So I want you to kind of think bigger, think brighter, and realize that you can do it again. You can attract something bigger and better. Also, love, I talk about this, it's the currency of the universe, right? So, and when I say this, I mean like it's the frequency of God. That's the language of God. It's also the one thing that you take with you. You take love with you. You take the love that you have for others, the passion that you've shared with the world. That peace comes with you. All of the belongings here, they don't. The title, the status, it doesn't matter. It doesn't translate. But the connections that we have, that's why we have soulmates. We recognize people. We recognize the love. We also recognize some of the other patterns like anger and frustration, but really they're different frequencies of love. I had a Reiki teacher once that reminded me that if I could see the love in a situation, I could always get myself to forgiveness. And I was at that time dealing with someone that was jealous. And I realized jealousy is really just a warped version of love. It's someone who sees something that they want, they can't have it. So they kind of find other ways to express themselves through anger and acting out. And I thought, okay, if that's actually them loving me, that's the only way they can express it, and I can forget what they did, even if I don't like it, and I don't want that to happen again. I understand that it actually came from love. There's a lot of different energies that even if you're angry at someone, you're usually only angry if you care. If you don't care, you're not going to really feel an emotion. So all things can usually be traced back to love. The challenge is how can we elevate the love, and how can we show that person that there's a different way to express it? Okay, I'm going to go ahead now and review everything that we talked about. Then we're going to do something special this month because we're doing live readings. I will do a 2020 forecast, and then we'll do a meditation, and then we'll chat at the end. And thank you all. I kind of periodically see what you're chatting here, but if I look at all of this, I'll get pulled out of what I'm saying. So hold on until the end and I'll talk to you personally at the end. Okay. So going back to the channeled message, which really started to resonate as I saw things like the freedom card here. This is the month to take a leap of faith. So it's time to get started. I talked about that flashback that I had to being at a starting gate, you know, for running a race. This month, there's nobody else there. You're really just racing with yourself. So don't compare your situation to others. You're the one that can kind of do the starting whistle if you need to. With the bear card, you want to look at how you're portraying yourself to others. Some of you might just be trying to protect yourself. I get like mama bear energy when I look at this. And I think that's A-okay. You want to protect yourself. You want to protect your family. We see that card here as well. But don't do it to a point that you feel like, or that others feel like they can't connect with you. Try to stay open. And also there's a grumpiness or sort of an off-putting energy with the bear. So try to go for the cuddly bear rather than the angry bear or the hibernating bear. And I think that's going to help you out with that. I see for many of you, there's a big opportunity smack dab in the center here. Page of Pentacles. And let's look at what it's attached to. It's attached to love because we have Queen of Cups. It's attached to relationships because we have Four of Wands. It's attached to a big shift or move because we have the World. So that's all good. There are some things you have to fix like communication and transparency, but by and large, it's a good card. Queen of Cups, love, relationship, passion. That's one of the key things and key factors that comes through. We have the Queen of Cups, the Page of Cups, and the Ten of Cups. So people play a very important role, like relationships, family, coworkers. You really want to foster good energy in those intimate relationships because these are the ones that have your back. And there's a lot of support in the Four of Wands. This is when you're having a bad day, when things aren't going the way you need them to go. These are the people that are there for you. It's your chosen family as much as your real family. And one of the things, if any of you have been going through a difficult time, this probably would be now because we're viewing this a little bit in advance of January. I want you to really take care of yourself and whatever it is that you need to do, whether it's, again, to take some time off, because I saw the fatigue in some of these cards in the Five of Wands, for instance, or even here in the health card. Or if you're just feeling like you need to have somebody support you, like a psychologist or a counselor, get that help now so that when January comes along, you can make these gigantic changes that want to happen with the world. So this, I love when the world comes. I forgot to mention this earlier, so I want to highlight it now. For those of you that are creative, this also has to do with being able to share something that you love. So it can be broadcasting, distribution, publishing, having someone take note of you. It has a lot of the energy of the star, but amplified like tenfold, because the star is just about a moment of visibility. This is about a channel where it really is going to continue. So sustainable growth and change is what really January wants to usher in for your sign, which I think is like super exciting for you. With the Five of Swords though, the only thing that could kind of be a fly in this ointment, these are the three kind of trickiest cards here, 3 or 4. The Five of Swords, communications. Don't get involved in unnecessary arguments. Don't let one person's negative comment throw you off. That's something I've had to learn over 5 or 6 years. You can't please everyone. I had a teacher that was a mentor of mine once, and I was helping them do a presentation. And I was sad when we were reading through all of the reviews because there was probably like 90 awesome ones, but there were 3 or 4 that were just terrible. And he said, well, we're doing a good job and that's normal. You're always going to trigger some people, and there was something that they needed to learn from that. If most people get you and one person doesn't, don't let that person pull you into what we see here, that shadow energy, because they're dealing with it. They're actually kind of projecting and trying to get you into that. They may be attracted to you because of all this love and light that's around you right now. So don't go there. Also, don't go there when it comes to saying things that hurt you, hurt them, or stay too long. Do, however, separate yourself from that if you need to. 3 of Swords is sometimes a necessary split. It's not all Pollyanna. This is why I like tarot. I like to see the good and also the challenges. So if we see a 10 of Swords moment, or 3 of Swords moment, or a 5 of Swords moment, it tells us someone needs to kind of get out of our energy, and we need to be okay with that, because letting that fall out allows for the sun to come through. So it's okay. The separation is okay, even if it doesn't feel good. Just honor it, like I said earlier. You're going to be busy. Try not to get so busy that you get separated from purpose. It's really, really important for you to be able to kind of stay in sync with everyone around you. Enough said with that. When we look at the Knight of Pentacles. It's a month to invest in yourself. I would say that most of you are doing a good job. I didn't get a lot of cards here showing selfishness or being kind of closed off. I would say if there's someone in your midst that's doing that, though, try to find a way to, I think, honestly, see how they're doing. There might be a reason that they're kind of pulling away. There's always a warning, though. If you feel like towards the middle to latter part of the month, you're just in your own world too much, this card is saying, make sure that, again, you reconnect and it's not all about you. So whether it's you or someone else, just remember to keep balance, which is something we saw here is in the work card here. Your outcome is showing me that you can really achieve that balance that we've been talking about. Love, happiness, acclaim. If you are going to release something like a creative project, a new business, if you're going to announce something, I see it being well received. You couldn't really ask for two better cards when it comes to trying to do something in your life. So don't be afraid. There's some work you've got to do. Anything worth creating in your life involves some sacrifice, some hard work, some investment. For some of you, you might have a big investment that's coming through and it's taxing you a bit because we see page, which is enough here, but the knight is above that. So you're going to have to kind of take a leap of faith with that and think I'm worth this, or this is worth it. But it seems like you have support and it will work out. Remember, when it comes to mind, body, and spirit, rest. Integrate any pain or loss and then move past it, ask for help. In that rest, in that sort of connection with others, you're going to find that there's a lot of things to be happy for. Be smart about your heart this month. Make sure that you're exercising and you're eating correctly. Talk to a doctor if you're not feeling well. That's the main area that came through to focus on. For wealth, it's all about balance. And we talked a little bit about the power of gratitude and service. It's a great way to bring balance and bring abundance in your life. When it comes to love, give people the freedom and space that they need. Also, feel free to go for something if it feels good. If you feel that you really love someone, something, this is a month to allow yourself to take a leap towards it. And it might be from one job to another, from one relationship to another. There's some sort of a big shift that's going to happen, but it feels like it's right. At the end of the day, and I think this is always true, doesn't it always come back to love? And that's what we have here. To try to always elevate and to bring people that maybe are having a hard time understanding how to elevate, like to just lead by example. I think that's important. Let's pull a few cards for the new year. We'll meditate and then we'll chat a little bit, okay? All right, let's see. I'll use the same deck for this. I'm just gonna leave the camera up so that we don't get dizzy while I'm shuffling. So let me just see here. I already wrote this out so I don't forget which cards are which months. All right, so card one is going to be January, February, and March. So let's see what's going on with that first quarter of the year. All right, let's look at January. Okay, this is the month where I think there's going to be the most balance that needs to happen, and it makes sense that we saw the scales card here. So Five of Pentacles has a lot of meanings. Let's go ahead and unpackage them all for this. Five of Pentacles has to do with rectifying or fixing any sort of issues with parents and children. And I would also just say close family members. But a lot of times it's your mother, or if you're a mother, it's your child. It's how can we increase and improve sort of communication and feeling better about one another. With respect to finance and resources, this card is about making sure that you're getting that balance that you need, that everything is okay. If you have your own business, this can be about undervaluing your products and services. If you're working for someone, this can be about not getting paid enough. And so what you'll be doing over the course of January, February, March is knocking on your boss's door and trying to figure out what can we do to open up new opportunities at work for me. And for people in your life, it's just making sure that you have really good limits and that nobody's kind of taking too much from you. Thank you, Liz. I appreciate that. Let's go ahead now and do card number 2, which is going to be April, May, and June. Again, afterwards, I'll kind of draw a bigger picture for the whole year. Okay, better. We have the Emperor card. Yeah, Emperor card. It was reversed, but I'm going to pull it up right just so we can see it for a second. The Emperor card is about really making sure that you have what you need in your life and you're kind of managing it. This is very entrepreneurial energy. So if, for instance, you knock on the door of your boss and you talk to them and they're really not kind of resonating with what you're saying, this could be about deciding, all right, I need to find something where the title, the pay, the respect is there because they're not respecting me, or going out on your own. In a relationship, this is also about making sure that if that other partner whether it's a best friend, a lover, or a coworker, they're not kind of respecting you. This is also about taking back the power. I've talked about this before. I believe that, of course, we're in situations where people can abuse their power, but for the most part, in our day-to-day relationships, power is given. We decide to kind of yield power to someone. And so you can always choose to bring it back and say, I've had enough. That's what quitting, getting a divorce, walking away, all of that, that's what that's about. And for some of you, we see some of that energy here. So I would say this is a month, not just a month, I'm a 3-period time, April, May, and June, for you to really kind of focus on how can I bring that back? How can I feel like I've got this under control? And then eventually getting out of the Emperor reverse, which can sort of be an overbearing energy. So at first you have to kind of like pull it back. Then you have to take a deep breath and think, I've got this now, and trust yourself. So, so far we've seen getting the balance that is necessary, taking back the reins if you need to, and then sitting with that idea that I can do this, that I have the power to do what I need to, or create what I need to create. Let's look at card number 3, which is going to be July, August, and September. Looking great, actually. We have the 3 of Pentacles. The card was reversed, but I love the progression that we're seeing with the 3 cards so far. This card, to me, always indicates growth, recognition, and sometimes it can indicate that you might decide to like go back to school or do something specifically to help develop yourself. But if whatever it is you're trying to foster or create, you're going to start to see some movement, and that respect that might have been lacking. This card, if you had to put something underneath it, it would be like respect, recognition, accomplishment. So it's within reach, but it does involve kind of changing things up a little bit and really even being a little demanding or insistent upon what it is that you need. Let's look at the final card, which is going to show the period of October, November, and December. And then we'll just review the 3 or the 4 that we have here. Strength. Nice way to end it, right? So all of the struggle that you've been doing, it feels like you bring it into control. This is again, a card of whether you're an entrepreneur or you're in a relationship or you've kind of pulled everything back to where it needs to be. Now you can just realize I did it. And you've moved from the Emperor reverse, which is very overbearing, to a card that shows that you're commanding respect. This is a different strength card. You'll notice she's not opening the mouth of the lion or the beast. This is showing, no, I've got it. And it's kind of like a Caesar Milan sort of moment where the dog or the energy or the situation understands that you're the one that's in charge. So this is actually a year about reclaiming power, right? That's kind of the story that the cards told me here. So we see a feeling like you need a little bit more at the beginning of the year, towards the second quarter, a period where you decide, what do I want to fight for? How am I going to get this in balance? And then a period of people recognizing what it was, seeing perhaps a part of you that they never saw before, and then a redefinition of who you are, what you want to be towards the end of the year. So really beautiful energy for your sign over the course of 2020. Let's meditate and then let's chat, okay? So everybody get comfortable for a second. And I'd like to do sort of a blessing for prosperity and abundance, and then whatever else comes to me, okay? So close your eyes, relax your shoulder, neck, and back. Kind of do a quick scan of your body, since we saw that 3 of Swords energy, and also that this card here, which is kind of showing some of you feeling perhaps exhausted. And if there's any part of your body that is coming forth and showing that it needs love or light, as you breathe in, I want you to infuse that area with the sense not just of the opening that's going to happen with the breath, but imagine that you're calling on the energy of the sun or the moon, whatever you want, depending on what time of day it is, and really allow that light to come into your body. Imagine that you're drinking it through your 7th chakra, that crown chakra, and you're kind of becoming a channel of light. So breathe in the energy. I'm going to hold my hands like the magician to kind of help channel that. So a nice deep breath, inhale. Really hold it for a second. See the energy swirling through each and every chakra, spinning them clockwise until they light up. Send that like a lightning rod all the way through the root chakra, right around the base of the spine, around the seat here, and wherever you're seated, just push that into the planet. Relax your posture a little bit, just be present. And I want you to connect again with that light source, whether it's the sun, the moon, or a star. And in this moment, I want you to really pay attention to all those little particles of light that are coming down. And what I'm seeing is sort of a stream of light, like you would see in one of those paintings, or for those of you that might live up in the Pacific Northwest, when you're looking out at the sound, and there's like one of those streams of light that shoots down. It's almost like a ray of light from God. Like that's what I want you to see shining on you. In this moment, I want you to just appreciate the beauty, the power, just like that strength card that we saw, and all of the love that you can bring to situation, to people, and to opportunities in your life. See yourself as really what the strength card indicates to me. It's a person of divinity, of divine strength. So see that strength, see that power, see that love within you, and really kind of solidify that and think to yourself, I am love, I am light, and I am ready for all of the abundance that 2020 wants to bring to me in love, in wealth, and in opportunity. If you'd like to as well, you could imagine that you're going to draw a circle of light around you, keeping your energy contained, keeping you really part of this sort of meditation and love and light that we've created, part of this community. And know that you are in the circle of light that we've all created here. And I hope that it continues not just through this reading, but also through the rest of this month and all through January. So one last deep breath. Send love and light now. Beam it out to everybody that's taking part with this live reading or with the replay, so that they can receive a healing as well. Gently open your eyes. Yay, that felt good. I really enjoyed this. I hope you did too. Like I said, I'm planning to do this for all of the 2020 readings for January. And I think it's going to be a new change just for me, because it's freeing me up to do more for you and to not be a perfectionist. And I think there's something nice about the live energy and showing up. And yeah, I hope you liked it. So tell me if you have any questions or comments here. This is not a pick a card, just about what we've done, or if there's anything that you liked or would like to see in a future reading, you can kind of put it here. Thank you, Carrie. I'm glad you liked it better too. And I'm glad you're ready for 2020, Rebecca. I want to say thanks to everybody that's sent me a super chat. I'm going to try to scroll back. Luce, I saw what you sent. And anybody that is thinking of doing that, Steve, thank you. I appreciate that. And Andrea, and Jean. And yeah, I think that was it. I caught everyone. I'll call you out in the comments. That really helps a lot. I mentioned earlier that if you'd like to give back, Super Chat's a great way. You can also join me on social media if you haven't already. I'm trying to do my best to give you guys a heads up about what the forecast, like when the new appointments are going to be for, not the new appointments, but when the new readings will be. And I'm going to see if I can kind of put my links here. I cut and pasted. So let's see if I can spam it out here to all of you. But here's all my links for keeping in touch. I'll put that at the end of the reading. And then if you'd like to book an appointment, or if you would like to become a patron, you can go to my website, which is nicholasashbaugh.com. Normally, I can put all of that at the bottom here, but you can just click a link right below the video, and I'll put cards in the video as well. Otherwise, I just want to say thank you so much. I wish you guys a fantastic holiday season. Thank you for joining me live. I am doing Gemini and Cancer tomorrow. Gemini at 9 a.m., Cancer at 11:30 a.m. That's Pacific time. I have placeholder videos on the YouTube main channel, so you can just click a little get reminder and you'll get a reminder. And again, on my website, nicholasashbaugh.com, I have the latest and greatest. And if you follow me on social media, I try to tweet out or send out reminders as well. So thank you guys so much. Have a great holiday. And I appreciate you all being part of this today. Okay. Take care. I'll see you again tomorrow. Okay. Bye-bye.